Welcome to Sanctum. You're listening to the 100 Podcast, the show about CW sci-fi series, The 100. I'm Dan, your alpha man, and today I'm joined by a one crew warrior, Olga.
Hey everybody, today we're discussing Season 6, Episode 5, entitled The Gospel of Josephine.
The Gospel of Josephine. This podcast is both audio and video, so if you are watching on youtube.com/doingok, you could also be listening on podcast services and vice versa. The audio sometimes goes up a little bit after the video because I may put the video up first, but we'll see what happens. What did you think of this episode?
First of all, I was just making a bunch of faces.
Well, I'm very glad.
That if you're listening to this, you did not experience. So just a tease there.
Yeah.
Anyway, what did I think about the actual episode? The
Yes.
thing we're actually here to discuss. I thought it was good. It was fine. It was all right. It was all right.
She did some faces again there, audio listeners.
I think you could tell by my voice that something's going on with my face.
I think that there were definitely great things about this episode, and I have a feeling a lot of people are going to really like this episode. I feel like I'll like it better on rewatch.
I think the same for me.
I was a little jarred by how quickly things moved, and I don't know. I mean,
boy, oh boy.
I guess we don't know where they're taking the storyline, but it feels like they had all the stuff they could have like built some more dramatic irony into, where it's like, but like very quickly everybody finds out what's going on.
So in some ways, all right, I think the reason that I'm gonna like it more on rewatch, and you might as well.
Yeah.
We were asking ourselves these questions last week or a few days ago when we rewatched it.
Yeah.
How are they going to pull off Josephine hiding as Clark?
Yeah.
And the answer is they don't. They can't. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And in that way, I'm like, yeah, they didn't.
Yeah.
And this is the natural conclusion. So in some way, it's kind of like, all right, Eliza isn't done playing Josephine.
Yeah.
But this whole charade of her being Clark is quickly wrapping up.
Well, it is and it isn't. Here's the thing. Like, we still, Bellamy found out and Murphy found out. But Bellamy's taken out. Murphy's going to keep playing the game, in theory. So, I mean, as far as the promo shows, it seems like she's still being Clark to Abby, right? And
but that's the thing. I don't think that she's going to be Clark to everyone by the end of next week.
You think?
You
think everyone will know she's Josephine?
Correct.
I think that's possible, but I don't think there's any like evidence to prove that you're correct
because
about that.
I think that they just need it long enough to get Abby on board. And given the pace of this episode, I am a firm believer that this is just going to get wrapped up. Or at the very least, they don't need Abby to make more Nightblood. They just need to figure out how Abby makes more Nightblood. So honestly,
but having a spy within their group is still useful,
and that'll be maybe Murphy, but it won't be
true.
Clark.
That's true.
But once Bellamy knows, like, she left him on the floor. She didn't have the guards take him away. She didn't do anything.
Are you sure? I thought the episode just cut at that point.
It did, but I'm just saying
she did not just leave him on the floor. That doesn't make any sense.
I think she left him on the floor.
Absolutely not. He is tied up in a lab somewhere. That would be ridiculous if he just found out and then she just stabbed him in the neck and left him there.
I suppose you're right.
That would be really stupid. I mean, maybe. Here's the thing. Josephine's crazy. So maybe she did. Seems like a bad choice.
Josephine is full of bad choices.
I mean, there is a great comedic thing here that we spent so much time talking about. Who's going to find out these subtle hints and blah, blah. And it turns out that Josephine just tells Murphy and Bellamy.
I know.
Like, yeah, okay, it was interesting that, like, Gaia was the first person to be really suspicious, Gaia and Jordan.
And Maddie was like, I get to go to school.
Yes!
Look, a swing set. And she literally was like, there you go. Maddie's on a swing set for the rest of the almost the rest of the episode.
Well, and then it's also kind of, Josephine just tells people, because it's like, fuck it.
Which is why I don't think they'll keep this charade going.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right. But at the same time, the other thing is interesting that's like ironic with all of our talks and stuff is we were like, how quickly will they find out that Maddie's Nightblood? How quickly will they realize that Nightblood can be synthesized? Like, all of this stuff happens
really
at like
quickly.
lightning speed. And then the thing that felt like the most lightning speed thing to me was that basically our entire group of delinquent, Earth crew is what we're calling them, right?
Yes.
almost the entirety of Earth Crew found out exactly what's going on with Sanctum.
That's
in
what
this
I
episode.
thought you would find the most ridiculous, because honestly,
yeah, that's what I'm saying was the most lightning fast thing that bothered me.
Yeah, you didn't start with that.
Yeah, I don't know. That was the thing that bothered me the most.
I agree. Yeah. And just to be clear, even though I've kind of reasoned the whole like secret of Clark / secret of Josephine, the lab itself being discovered, Gabriel and Russell being found doing that procedure on that girl. Like, hey, instead of doing a full flashback, let's watch our people watch it happen. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it just... I'm trying to wrap again, this is First Reactions podcast. So, like, we didn't rewatch it. Maybe once I decompress and read other people's opinions and stuff. But my first thought was just annoyance at how clumsy and stupid it made the Sanctum people feel. The
Sanctum people never worried about it.
Yeah, it's like you didn't change any of the passcodes. You didn't have any guards in the lab. You didn't have a security system. Like, they had like a number pad, but they didn't have an alarm system. They didn't have security cameras. They didn't change the codes from the basic Allegius codes. They basically just left it as password. And like
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, it's like it just made them. And then Josephine, like, I was so excited to like see, oh, Josephine's there though. So like, what will she do to like stop them from finding out? Nothing. She'll just stand there. And like, it didn't really make.
She stole a paralytic.
Honestly, I don't feel like this episode actually made Josephine seem that intelligent. To be honest, she's just impulsive.
Yeah. Oh, the episode 100% demonstrated that.
Yeah.
Like, our whole thing of like, well, we don't think Kaylee is long for this world.
Yeah.
Stabbed in the neck by Josephine. Yeah. Like,
well, you know what's hilarious though about that is I saw that and I was like, holy shit, and I was like, well, killing someone doesn't actually mean that much in their world.
But she also said putting them on ice for 50 years.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. She was going to keep them basically in prison.
My point being is that this was more of an act like when on Sabrina, when Zelda kills Hilda. And it's like, well, they'll be back. Yeah, it sucks that I killed her. But like...
she's still a sociopath.
Yeah, well, I mean, also supposedly Kaylee killed her. But yeah, I mean, to be
clear,
they're
all sociopaths.
To be clear, well, and Kaylee, it's all a weird cyclical thing because Kaylee said that Josephine killed somebody else.
Isaac. Yeah. It was in subtitles and they were speaking Chinese and a lot was going on.
But yeah, no, I mean, obviously Josephine's a sociopath.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I speak my piece about Josephine now?
Yes, your very exciting thing.
My exciting thing.
Your special fun Nazi thing.
You gave it away. Well, fine. Josephine's a Nazi.
Yes.
And this is the season of Nazis between Dioza being compared to Hitler and Jackson being someone who just did his job in the bunker.
I was just following orders.
Yeah. Yes. Perfect Jackson impression. And now Josephine is a eugenicist culling unwanted people. She wrote a book on it. You shouldn't like Josephine.
No.
Don't like her.
No.
For any of you watching, I can understand defending Octavia, Blood Reina. I get it. Dioza,
cannibals are fine.
I love Dioza now, and I have for a long time. Yes. I love her more after this episode.
Yeah. Great Dioza stuff.
Don't like Josephine. She's a Nazi.
She's a psycho.
She's a fascist sociopath, and it makes me...
Or is she a visionary?
Oh, God. The point is, in terms of my feelings about it, I find it hilarious. I don't know.
So you went from being angry about it to...
I just don't know what to do with this.
Well, I think part of why we find it hilarious is I was so much like, she seems so nice. And even you were like, maybe she's a bitch. No, it's like, no, she's not a bitch. She's not just a bitch. She's not just a sociopath. She's a Nazi.
Welcome to Trump's America, folks.
Oh my God. That was a step too far, I believe.
It's a sci-fi show filmed in Canada. We're fine.
Okay. Yes, only Canadians watch this show. Moving on from that.
Going back to our other favorite Nazi, apparently Dioza.
No. I want to talk more about the eugenics thing.
Okay.
So, and also about the sort of flashback that they watched thing.
Right.
Very cool scene. I think that the actress that they had for the second body of Josephine was really good. And I think that the Gabriel and the dad both did a really good job.
25 years. They aged.
Yeah. The thing that's interesting here, so they talked about how, so this first body was in an incubator and was using the embryos.
So it seems like they developed, I was wondering, like, how are they going to populate it more? Yeah. Their technology means that as long as it's like an embryo, it can be grown, I guess, in an incubator into a person. Mm-hmm. And they took people out a little too early and they ran those experiments and they failed because the underdeveloped brain just couldn't handle it. Mm-hmm. So now finally this one is like 21. Yeah. And she's ready.
I like that scientifically 21 actually is an important age for brain development. Yeah. So, like, that actually makes some sense.
It does. It does.
So the thing that's interesting here, and it's interesting both for the show but also as like a moral discussion, is I don't understand why they didn't just keep doing this. Because morally, I wouldn't have an issue with them just continuing to do this. I think it's worse that they're bringing people up, brainwashing them into consent, and that they're like have lived full lives amongst the community, and then they just sacrifice them.
I feel like to me, this is Russell.
Yeah, but my point being that to me, if you just have a person in an incubator, they're not a person. I don't care if they've been around there for 20 years. Now, obviously, this gets into very interesting moral things as far as just biological ethics and also pro-choice versus pro-life. But in my mind, if someone is just a body in a tube and has no memories or experiences or interactions, they're not a life.
I mean, on paper, in our current reality, yeah. I agree with you.
Yes.
I do.
It's I know that that's a controversial path to take.
If I've already said what I've said and you're keeping it,
yeah.
Support your local Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
And the ones in need down south right now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, so my thought process is that, yeah, why not just use these scientifically created things as you're basically farming bodies.
Right.
I'd rather they do that than actually have them grow up and then kill them.
So, yeah, that's the whole like ethics and morality of just basically be a body farm, living organ donors. Yeah. Or that idea of like the body is the organ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel sort of similar, but yeah, it's a huge ethics conversation because what they're doing isn't better ethically. Because it's not really real consent. Like Russell is saying, well, I think the whole reason they decided to start making sure people volunteered for it is there were too many night bloods or black bloods or whatever. And people who volunteered for...
I don't think there were ever too many night bloods.
You don't think it was ever too many?
I think that the whole thing was
was always rare.
Was that Josephine was like, this is why we need to do the eugenics, is to create more night bloods.
I can see that.
Yeah, I don't think there was ever a surplus of them.
Okay. Yeah, that was me theorizing, but I can understand your point, especially if it took them like 25 years, for example, between letting them grow and experiments. Sure.
Do you understand? I don't actually understand on just my first watch exactly what Josephine wants. Like, what I understand, we saw the word eugenics, and that's bad enough to be like, holy shit. But like, what is it that she was trying to do?
By my account, what it seemed like she wanted, and I'm not 100% sure either, again, first watch, she either wanted to just force people to copulate and then produce night bloods and then cull people who didn't produce. That to me is the most straight out like idea of eugenics. Like the unwanted ones would be the ones who have regular red blood.
Yeah.
And then have your black bloods and then let them have kids and then kill the ones who aren't black blooded and then continue it so that you just like, I think, increase the chance of a black blood gene being propagated. I guess
what I'm confused about, maybe we're supposed to be confused, is why they couldn't just keep doing this with just in the lab with the machine with the embryos.
I don't know either. It could be that they haven't identified the black blood gene.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I feel like people might have, if they were on board with raising this girl to be 22, wouldn't they be on board with culling within these test tube babies? Like, I understand they wouldn't want to cull within actual birthed babies or whatever, but... Well,
Josephine might.
Yeah, but then overall.
Russell and,
So my question, maybe it's that, and it goes back to a theory I had earlier in the season, is that Gabriel changes his mind and takes all the embryos with him, and that all of the children of Gabriel are literally the children he created.
Yeah, but then it gives the same idea of why not force or ask people to donate their eggs and their sperm and then
Well, I would assume because Gabriel was the one who knew how to do all that.
He was the geneticist. Yeah. I could see by Gabriel leaving, they lost that technology and had to rely on the old-fashioned method. Yeah, I could buy that. Yeah. So the whole thing that I was just going to get back to is Russell and his idea of, well, these people are owed consent. They're owed the chance to live a life until they're 21 and then choose to donate. But if you're building a religion, if you're brainwashing people into believing this is like earning the power or the love of God, basically, then is that really a choice?
Well, it gets at the heart of what is consent, right? I think this is a big enough topic that maybe we postpone it for our longer podcast.
Here's just some big questions.
I mean, the thing that I do like about it on a less intense level is that that at least it feels like Russell and Simone and all the rest of the primes aren't as bad as Josephine, right? So it's like what they did where they took Clark's consent away. That was like a new thing, a new low for them. Yeah. And I like that he pointed that out. Yeah.
From the beginning. Yeah. They the way I see it too is like they took all that time to fight against what they did in that first wave.
Yeah. But again, the complicated thing about that is, are they actually better than Josephine, or are they like we were saying, if they're not actually giving consent, it's just the appearance of being better than Josephine. So yeah. I really did like how things ended with Murphy. Mm-hmm. And I liked also how much they showed with Abby wanting to bring Kane back, which obviously could connect to the mind drives and saving Kane through those. So I liked that they were sort of showing us, like, even in our people, why people would want to use this technology, right?
Between Murphy being afraid of hell and therefore wanting to be immortal to avoid it, and Abby being like, well, we'll just put Kane into a new body.
Yeah. Well, so like, and I think that even the flashback too, there was like, I killed my girl. I did whatever I could for 20 years to bring her back. Like, that's an understandable thing. It's all about that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, that kind of thing. So,
that it is.
Yeah. I don't know. What else do you want to talk about?
I've been like I said, yes. My next favorite thing, maybe only favorite thing that happened this episode was Team Ayoza Dictavia. Dictavia. Yes. The team up I've been waiting for. Mm-hmm. Dioza coaching Octavia back to wanting to fight for her life.
Yeah.
I am here for it. Yeah. Like, that was nice.
Yeah, that was cool.
Good.
And it was the part of that plot line had the most like surprises as far as like what's going on, the time anomaly thing.
Right. The time anomaly came out of nowhere. Yeah. And even they're being stuck and like forced to talk to each other. It made sense. They laid it out with Xavier like knowing the woods and it being his jungle, and Dioza being smart and being like, he's watching us. Octavia just basically still fighting herself and punishing herself. Like, so good. And Octavia's hand, arthritic. It's her left hand. Yeah. it definitely looked all knobby and everything, so it looked like it jumped like 50 to 60 years in age. Yeah.
And then all the trees aged and died and all that stuff.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Very interesting. So the one thing they did do pacing-wise that I liked is that we didn't see any hint of, oh, is Clark still alive somewhere? Is her consciousness hidden? Like, I was pretty sure we were going to end this episode and then it be cut to, like, Clark and Mount Weather being like, guys, where am I? Like, yeah, like that kind of thing. The fact that they held off on that, I appreciate. Mm-hmm. I still 100% think she's alive.
Yeah, me too.
I still 100% think she's not in the flame.
Me too.
That's just my
because wouldn't Maddie have
opinion.
Known by now?
Yeah, it seems really weird to me that. And again, it comes down to her brain was in her body. It doesn't just her consciousness doesn't just float away into the flame. That would be really ridiculous fantasy.
So, in that sense, if we had seen that, I would have been like, "This is ridiculous pacing." But if the show is playing dead, so to speak, I could see them going there next week. But honestly, even longer.
Yeah.
And I think that would be okay.
Well, that's here's the problem: is that pacing is so subjective.
It is.
Where like I could see it getting like silly how long they could wait to reveal that Clark's alive and have us be like, nobody actually thought she was dead, guys. Why did you wait 4 episodes to reveal that? Like, but, we'll see.
We'll see. And that's why I don't want to praise them or criticize them for pacing too much right now, because you never know what you get.
You need to take a step back and look at it. Because, I think that during season 5, which I think most people would agree had a lot of pacing issues, you didn't really see the forest for the trees while it was happening necessarily.
Right. Yeah. We, as a matter of fact, were pretty happy with the first half of season 5 overall. Yeah. So, how things change.
Do you want to mention Xavier's hair thing?
I do. I was waiting for my cue. So, something I noticed, and again, this was just on this watch, that Priya, in Delilah's body, she now has like this white-gray coil, and that the other woman, Prime, who I don't know if we got her name, but she's Rose/Jasmine's prime mother. So Rose would have become Jasmine is the idea. And she also has like this gray white stuff in her hair. And Dioza calls out in Xavier, nice gray streak, like in the look. Yeah. And to me, these things together kind of indicate that I believe that once hosts have their prime inside of them.
Once they're primed.
Sure. That it does something to their hair. And I think this means that Xavier either at one point had a host or hosted a body, mind, whatever, or he actually, in fact, is Gabriel, as you were saying, or shares a consciousness with Gabriel.
Now, did Simone have that hair thing? I can't, like, that's the thing. So I there's definitely something going on with the hair.
I don't remember.
Yeah. I also wonder if it's a physical symptom of what happened, or if it's like an adornment to be like, you're a prime. Because I don't assume that Clark is going to end up with that.
Right. It might take some time, or it could depend on how traumatic the thing is, but then Clark would have it. Yeah. Maybe it takes time to appear, and it just like happened to different people at different speed. I don't know. Yeah. The fact that Clark doesn't have it and her thing was definitely traumatic. Well, it wasn't because physically she was already paralyzed like way before. Traumatic. Yeah. It was mentally traumatic. Yeah. So, but we associate like getting a gray streak with like, you were so afraid your hair turned white. Yeah.
You know what it is? I think the reason that them finding out everything in the lab thing felt so jarring to us is that they ended last week with this really scary secret that was like a super intense secret that was dramatic irony up the wazoo for the rest of our characters. And I was like, holy crap. Like, they're not going to know this is going on. And then they just find out with ease the next episode. Like,
you're right.
That was the whiplash.
When you take it like 1-2, then that's a big deal. And I feel like the show has done things like that in the past that have been like, but we can't, as you put it, we can't sit in it. We can't really sit in Clark's sphere and in her being gone in this environment, because we just saw it happening to someone else and watched our people watch it happen.
Yeah. Well, you can't sit in the like, holy crap, like things are happening and our people don't know. Like, because they know in 5 seconds. But this is the one last thing I wanted to say. I don't know if you have anything else. One last thing I want to say is they mentioned something to the effect of they're making the brain dormant when we were watching the old time where the flashback thing. To me, that does not mean killing the brain. If you're making it dormant, they think it's dormant forever, but Clark could still be hidden there. At the same time, obviously, Josephine straight up says Clark is dead, but I don't know.
Well, I think we'll have to see a little bit more on rewatch, pick up what they say. So speaking of the rewatch.
Yes. Oh, we're going to do a rewatch. Okay, so this is an interesting scheduling thing we have to talk about. So there's no episode of The 100 next week, I believe. We should probably double check that. So we confirmed there is no episode of The 100 this coming week, which means we're going to switch our schedule from the usual, which is usually we do these reaction podcasts right after the episode. Then Sunday nights, we put out a review or we do our feedback, our recap, rewatch the episode, all that stuff. But because there's no episode this coming Tuesday, and because it's my college reunion this weekend, we're going to put the review up on Wednesday the 5th by 7 p.m. Eastern. That's the plan. If anything changes, I will let people know on Twitter at the 100 Podcast or on the 100podcast.com. That's the site. So those are the options. And let us know what your feedback is. Comment down below on YouTube. Send us emails at the100pod@gmail.com. Send us tweets, all that good stuff. Anything else, Olga?
Get your feedback in soon because
we got a lot of it.
We got a lot of it last week, and I think that there are going to be more theories and whatnot this week too.
Also, stay tuned to youtube.com/doingok, as I will be doing a video on the Cloak and Dagger season finale this Thursday, and there will probably be some other fun videos next week as well.
Yeah.
Maybe even some 100 videos. We'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching, and may we meet again.
May we meet again.